All right, welcome back, everybody. We have a surprise for you this week because Kayla and I were not ready to say goodbye to Christmas. You guys will be getting this. Right now, when we're recording it, it's still December.
It is.
So we're still going with the theme of the month.
Yeah, it's still the month.
Yep, we're not ready to let go of Christmas, and it's still kind of the holidays. You guys will be getting this slightly after New Year's, but we're going to keep running with it. One more Christmas movie for you guys on Redo or reDON'T. And it's going to be, one of my favorites is the original, A Year Without a Santa Claus. I've talked about it before in a past episode. I talked about how much I loved it.
Yeah.
Then also alluded to the fact that there is a sequel years afterwards in A Miser Brother Christmas, which is what we'll be reviewing today on Redo or reDON'T and seeing how it holds up.
I think this is going to be the newest Mandela effect, and I have told you that, but then you said it again. I, my entire life, have been under the impression that it is a year without a Santa Claus. You just said it. I've always said it. It is the year without a Santa Claus. That's incorrect.
There's reasons why we would think that it's a year without a Santa Claus. So
My entire life, I could have sworn that that was the title.
that's not crazy of you to think. Or, I thought it too. So
This is the new Berenstein Bears.
Yeah. Well, I love it so much that it's one of my favorites, and yet I don't even know what it's called. So that goes to show you right there.
It's wrong.
Yeah.
Somehow we switched over into a different dimension, and now it's the year without a Santa Claus. I don't remember it being that at all.
Yeah.
At all. But whatever. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. So welcome back. Redo or reDON'T. I'm Kyle.
And I'm Kayla.
And as we alluded to in the intro, we're doing A Year Without a Santa Claus, or The Year Without a Santa Claus.
See?
I'm already going back into it. I know.
Because all our lives, it was a year without a Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Someone lied to us.
Is
ABC
it-
Family lied to us.
Is it A Miser Brothers Christmas, or The Miser Brothers Christmas, or just Miser Brother Christmas?
I don't care.
All right.
No, I think it's A Miser Brothers Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't care because, but
Do you know from your research what it aired on?
ABC Family.
Miser Brothers Christmas did?
Yep, it aired during 25 Days of Christmas.
Okay. Because what I
On
want
Taylor
to
Swift's
say.
birthday. Sorry, had to bring her into this.
What's up?
I said on Taylor Swift's birthday.
Oh, okay.
And then
yeah.
I said, sorry, I had to bring her into this.
Yeah.
Always.
Well, what I want to know is whatever cable network, which I guess is ABC Family, aired this movie, how? How did they
Yeah.
let such a thing air? I mean, is it not the worst thing you've ever seen in your life?
It's pretty bad. I may have seen worse, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. It's just that bad.
Like, it is
It's so
truly
bad.
bad. Anybody who's listening or watching, I want you to close your eyes and think about what is the worst movie you've ever seen in your life. And then apologize to that movie. Because as bad as it might be, it's not as bad as this film.
It's true. It was brutal. It was weird. They're both stop motion pictures. And the thing is, a year
Year Without a Santa Claus. Just say Year Without
year
a
without
Santa
a
Claus.
Santa
That's it.
Claus. It looks great and it's so cute and the cartoons are done so well. And then A Miser Brothers Christmas. They don't even make Heat Miser and Snow Miser look the same. But it is the same type of movie. It's not like it went from claymation to the type of animation that we have today. If they went like that, I could see how the characters would look different. Because, like I said, in last week's episode, technology changes. No, I think it looks worse.
Oh, it definitely does. They look scary in
Yeah.
this one.
Yeah.
All of the characters do.
I don't
Not
know how they
like
could have messed that up so badly.
It's not like Snow Miser or Heat Miser are supposed to be scary, or even the villain in it, which is their brother Wind, like another son
North Wind,
of
yeah.
North Wind, is like the son of Mother Nature, is the villain. It's not like they purposely made them look scary. It's like Mrs. Claus looks scary, Mr. Claus, Santa looks scary. Like, they messed everything up. The elves do. Like, I was telling you when we were looking at it, they have the technology at that point. I mean, did it come out 2006, 2008?
2008.
2008. Like, they had the technology in 2008 to even make it look like the original film, like claymation,
Yeah.
you know, like it had the technology to do so. Or like you said, if they wanted to modernize it and make it make it look good in like today's day in like animation.
Right.
But they didn't.
They didn't.
They
It looked
went some
so
weird
bad.
way with like the animation in this one, and it looks terrible.
Yeah.
I truthfully was thinking during it, right? So my question comes back to, why would ABC Family ever let this thing air? Because I was thinking, okay, so it was clearly written by like a middle schooler, probably. Some kid won like a contest. This is the only way that it could have possibly been written, is some middle schooler won like a contest, like the best essay is going to get. Because there's no way that a real Hollywood screenwriter could ever have gotten this, who could ever have like wrote this and thought like, this is a good one.
The worst part is it was Warner Brothers Animation
Oh my God, what were they thinking? They
That-
were really desperate, huh?
that they and then aired it on ABC Family during the 25 Days of Christmas. So not only, did it air on ABC Family's biggest time of year, they aired that. Such a
Yeah.
bad quality film.
I do think that, like, I don't know how the hell anybody could have wrote this and been like, yeah, I'm going to submit this. This is really good. But then when it gets to ABC Family and they watch, like, the rough cut, they were like, yeah, we can show this to people.
They were desperate in 2008.
They must have been. Why would you ever let this air? I hope that I hope that after it aired the first time and premiered on ABC Family, I hope they never showed it again.
It doesn't have good ratings.
Okay.
The ratings don't add up at all. A Year Without a Santa Claus is like great ratings. Everyone
Yeah.
loves it. It was like 90%.
I haven't looked at them. I'm going to look at them in a second. I would give Year Without a Santa Claus a 10. 10 out of 10.
Wow.
I love that film.
I
I
know
love
you
it. The
do.
music is great, which is my biggest gripe with this second film. I mean, yeah, the characters look scary and the writing is god awful, but the music, the songs are so childish and terrible that, like, what are the lyrics? The music behind it is terrible.
Yeah.
I was like, the one thing that, or not the one thing, but like probably one of the best things in Year Without a Santa Claus is the songs and the music.
Mm-hmm.
And this, like, you'd think that if they could get one thing right in this second film, please let it be the music. And no, that it's terrible.
Explain the plot of A Year Without a Santa Claus, just in case people haven't seen it, and I'll explain the plot of the spinoff.
Okay. Year Without a Santa Claus starts off with Santa is sick and Christmas is coming up, and Mrs. Claus is thinking, oh boy, like, what do we do? Santa's too sick. I don't think that he's well enough to go out and deliver all the toys on Christmas Eve for Christmas. So she starts thinking, there's like the famous opening scene is like, could she be Santa? And trying to think of like, could there be any kind of replacements to Santa? And it kind of is a ripple effect through the entire world of like, what would happen if Santa truly is unable to make his rounds on the night of Christmas Eve, and Santa ends up like some of the elves, Jingle and Jangle, like there's like a side story where they lose Vixen, I believe. Like, they lose one of the reindeer, and Santa in his ill-weathered state has to go down to like trying to find Vixen, and he sees that some people are not believing in Santa anymore, and he at the end of it decides that, like, for the sake of keeping the spirit alive in Christmas, I need to he ends up seeing that people are rallying behind him and that there are some people who believe, and it kind of gives him the energy to still go out and do it. But the two characters of the Miser brothers come into play in A Year Without a Santa Claus as like side characters, but they obviously Snow Miser is supposed to be like the higher being that makes it snow in certain like areas of the world, and Heat Miser is what gives us like the hot days, and he calls himself like Mr. Green Christmas, because if it was up to him, there'd be no snow. And they're little like side characters that are kind of funny. They have some good songs that they sing and everything. And Mrs. Claus like runs into a headache with the two of them as she's trying to sort this out, where she can get Santa to be well enough to deliver presents. And that's where they take these two side characters from that original film and run with it to make a sequel in 2008. Now,
Right.
if you want to go into how they do that.
Yes. So you have the Miser brothers, and then they also have, Mother Nature. So under Mother Nature, there's a bunch of siblings. It's the Miser brothers. It's the North Wind, who's
A villain.
a villain, but also like a child of Mother Nature.
Yeah. There's Earthquake is another child
Yeah.
of Mother Nature.
There's just there's a bunch of there's a bunch of children. That's kind of a side story to it all, but basically the North Wind, one of the siblings and one of the children, wants to take over being Santa Claus because the North Wind is in charge of the North Pole. So if something happens to him, then the North Wind gets to take over. So he's the villain. He's trying to get rid of Santa Claus, and the Miser brothers end up coming together to stop the North Wind from taking over. They save Santa. But in it also, Santa's still not well. He, instead of being sick this time, has back problems.
Right.
The man has so many problems. So once again, it's a similar plot, but, he has back problems. And in the end, the Miser brothers end up delivering the gifts on Christmas night for the kids instead of Santa Claus.
Yeah, which wow, is in the eyes of the creators of these two movies, is Santa Claus just very mortal and very he runs into all the same problems that we run into. And something as simple as either being sick and getting a cold or your back pain can stop this man with magical powers. That's what's gonna, if a simple sickness was gonna sideline him for a Christmas, don't you think there'd be some more Christmases that he wouldn't be able to attend?
Yeah, not just these two.
Yeah, right. Other than that, every other year for the history of time, he's been in great shape and great health.
It's just a really weird concept, a really weird plot. It doesn't make much sense. And it's, you're bringing in new characters that weren't there in the first one.
Yeah, North Wind was never even talked about.
And so I think we talked about this when we did the Santa Claus and the Santa Clauses. Just bringing in new characters and just creating these new plots that aren't necessary and have no connection to the first one, but are almost answering. They're not answering questions from previous movies, but they're because this and this happened in the originals, that's why we now have this character. That's why we now have this plot. It's like creating things that weren't ever really supposed to be there.
Yeah,
they're
100%.
just trying to fit it in.
100%. It's just them being they have the North Wind, of course. They have other brothers and sisters, and we're gonna just introduce that. It's okay. Where you never touched upon them in the first one, but you need to run with it and be well, who's the villain gonna be in the second one? Well, what we could do, and it's just kind of throwing stuff at the wall. It's not hey, this makes sense. It is just hey, this is how we write ourselves out of an inconsistency.
Right.
Is just to make this convenient character. And we'll just say that, that he's been there all along and you just haven't seen him and whatever. And it's no, it seems very out of place because it is.
What's interesting, though, is the voice of Santa Claus and the voice of one of the, I want to say Heat Miser.
It's Heat Miser, yeah.
They both came back.
Yeah, so Mickey Rooney is the voice of Santa, and he's a very well-known actor, and not just in animated films. And he had a well-known career as an actor in a ton of films. But I was kind of wondering why did he come back? I can't imagine that he was they gave me the right script. All it takes is the right script and I come back. He must have read this and been what is this garbage?
Is George Irving also pretty well known?
I don't know any of his stuff. I mean, obviously they were well before our time. I mean, he may have been. But Mickey Rooney certainly didn't need the money. It wasn't he... I mean, it's something you might know him in is Night at the Museum. He's one of the actors, one of the older gentlemen in Night at the Museum with Ben Stiller. But he had a whole career, his entire life, and certainly didn't need the money in 2008. It might have been hey, this is a very easy thing, is just come and say a couple lines as Santa in the studio and make a paycheck. But I don't know. The good thing about it, if there's anything, was my biggest worry when we do these films that are rebooted, and this entire era of the reboot era of movies and TV, I always worry I'm pleading with I plead to the people who make these films. I'm don't do it because it's gonna ruin the legacy or ruin my perception of the first film that I enjoyed. And this one, thankfully, doesn't do that for me.
You'll probably forget about this one.
Well, that's the thing. I 100% am going to. One, because I'm going to try so hard to never ever think about it again. But I can separate these two entirely.
Yeah.
And just look at the first one, A Year Without a Santa Claus, The Year Without a Santa Claus, Year Without a Santa Claus. I can look at it completely on its own. I'm not going to associate it with this thing. You know, like this was clearly...
It is two kind of separate things in and of itself.
Yeah, the problem is, though, is that they're trying to pass it off as they're the same.
Yeah.
They're trying to pass it off as, here's the sequel. And it's like, no, there was. I mean, I think Year Without a Santa Claus came out in 1976. I'll double check, but like, that's, what, 30 years?
Ish. Yeah.
Yeah, so like, there's plenty of time in between. It's not like, hey, we were always, you know, it's a stretch calling it a sequel. If anything, it's a legacy sequel, like we talk about on these films, on this podcast. But I can separate these two, which is a good thing. Like, now that I watch Year Without a Santa Claus, I'm not going to be like, yeah, but Miser Brothers Christmas was so bad that it ruins it for me. It doesn't. I can separate the two, which is the one saving grace about watching this awful atrocity of a film.
What's interesting about this, though, is we talk about the reboot era now, as in movies and shows coming out in 2020, 2021, 22, and so on and so forth. This was 2008. This was way before it was even like a moneymaker.
Yeah.
Which we said about the Santa Claus 1 and 2 in that sequel.
We were talking about that for Miracle on 34th Street, as it was before.
Oh, that's the last one we did.
Yeah.
I'm confusing them. I've watched so many Christmas movies this year, and
that's a good thing.
Usually just watch like Miracle on 34th Street and Rudolph and call it a year.
Yeah. No, Miracle on 34th Street was before the reboot era.
Yes, but so was this one.
Yeah, this one was too. You're right. But still, I mean, we're not even gonna get into is it necessary yet. I want to go through the ratings, but like a little hint is like,
no, we can get it over with because no, it's not.
Yeah, you're right.
It's not.
Relative to what you're saying, yeah, 2008, like it's before the reboot era. But why the hell did they make it?
Yeah, there was no need.
Not necessary at all. Like, the first film still is on ABC Family, 25 Days of Christmas, because it withstands the test of time. People will still watch it. It's not like people don't go back and revisit that film. Yes, they do. It's still a Christmas tradition. It's still a Christmas classic.
Right.
Like, you didn't need to now go and be like, I wonder what the Miser Brothers are up to. And I'm sure everybody's wondering that. No, nobody was thinking that.
I'm going to have to go back and look at the 25 Days of Christmas lineup and see if a Miser Brother Christmas is even on it.
Yeah, I had it saved somewhere. We'll have to look that up.
Because The Year Without a Santa Claus had to be. Usually
it normally is.
Yeah, usually they'll do that one and Rudolph and a few other.
And Santa Claus Coming to Town.
Yeah, those claymations, they'll put them all in a row.
Yeah.
But I don't ever remember the Miser Brother being part of that.
Those ones, no, thankfully not. Those ones all withstand the test of time. Those ones all people still can't wait to watch when Christmas season's coming around. You know what I mean? Like, so let me get into the ratings. Obviously, we got a little ahead of ourselves and jumped right to the is it necessary? Clearly, it's not. But Year Without a Santa Claus, both of them had short run times because I think that they were both released straight to TV, like TV movies.
Yeah.
But I was thinking as we were watching it, can you imagine if A Miser Brothers Christmas was an hour and a half?
You asked me if I was falling asleep during the movie, and the answer would have been yes if it was that long.
Yeah. Thank God it was only like 45 minutes.
And even that was long.
Yeah, I know.
I was dozing.
I know. But okay, yeah, you were right. Great reviews for A Year Without a Santa Claus, right? 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. 83% audience score, and 7.7 on IMDb. All around, those are great reviews.
Yeah.
Those are great reviews. And then Miser Brothers Christmas, 6.1 on IMDb. Clearly a decrease. 54% Rotten Tomatoes and audience score.
Yeah. And there wasn't even really a normal Rotten Tomatoes ranking. It was truly just the audience score.
Yeah, okay. I wonder if anybody even, like, because again, it was a straight to TV movie. Like, I wonder if critics even took the time.
There were like 2.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Because it wasn't like a blockbuster. It wasn't a box office film. It didn't premiere in theaters or anything like that. Kind of just like a quick little TV movie that was probably like, let's see if this also has the same effect, and maybe it'll be a Christmas tradition for years to come. Nope, no one ever will watch it again, thankfully, as it should.
What I didn't realize was A Year Without a Santa Claus was based off of a book.
Oh, I didn't know that, actually.
Yep.
I didn't know
By
that.
the same title.
Okay, but the writing for the movie, I don't know how closely it would follow the book, but the writing for the movie is so well done.
Yeah.
I love that film.
I wonder if it's like a Dr. Seuss-esque style book that they then made as they did The Grinch.
Yeah, it probably
or
wasn't
something
like a full novel or anything like that
I don't
that
know.
they follow.
I don't
Probably
know
a
though,
quick one.
because it's interesting how many legit novels become kids movies.
Yeah.
Like think of any Disney princess movie. Those are like deep, dark and scary novels, especially The Little Mermaid. When I found out that that was like a horror book that they then made into a Disney movie, I was baffled.
Yeah.
Who knows what the Year Without a Santa Claus book could be.
They could have. But either way, like, they actually put a lot of effort into the writing for the first one and made it doesn't feel lazy. It doesn't feel like phoned in. It very much so, like, it has funny moments. It certainly pulls on the heartstrings. Like, when I was a kid, I'd like cry at some of the parts in those movies. And it's still just watching it now as a 26-year-old. Like, it is still beautifully written and done. Like, the music is great. I love all of it.
It's a classic for sure.
Yeah, exactly. This Miser Brothers Christmas is garbage.
Trash.
Garbage. So unless there's anything else that you want me to touch upon for like statistics or anything like that, like you said, Mickey Rooney and George Irving were the two that came back, which kind of keeps with like something that we always keep tabs on this podcast. But those are the only two. I mean, Santa and Heat Miser, respectively.
Snow Miser died. So they had to replace
the
him.
actor who played him, yeah.
Yeah, in the 90s.
Yeah.
So, that's another interesting piece of it. Would he have, is that weird to ask? Would he have come back?
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that Mickey Rooney and George Irving did.
I think it's the same thought process that you had of like, all right, I can spend 2 hours, if that, in a studio, and I'm keeping my voice and my tradition alive.
Yeah.
I think it's more of that. The same thing that we talked to about John Morris and him voicing Andy. If I were him, I wouldn't want anyone else to do it.
Yeah.
That's my character that I've put, especially in a Toy Story situation. There's so many of them. That's my character that I put the time in. That's my voice. That's my reputation. It could be the same thought process that he was thinking that, I was Santa Claus. Why stop now? That's my character. That's my reputation and my tradition.
Yeah, no, and I'd get that if that's what he felt, but that unfortunately makes, not that he was the problem with this film, but like now you're associated with this crappy film forever and ever,
I wouldn't even go as far to say that. I don't think many people watch it and hate on it. I think it's just so irrelevant that we're probably the first two people to watch it this Christmas season.
Yeah, probably, but nevertheless, it exists, and it fits the criteria of the podcast that we're making here of like a sequel that didn't need to be made and whatever. But
so I think you're giving it the redo.
Yeah, that would be a plot twist, huh? That would be.
You're like, but actually,
everything about it sucked, but redo. No, I appreciate where it was going. No, hate everything about it. Truly a waste of my time, and was really bad. Really bad. reDON'T.
I should have just taken a nap.
You should have. We definitely should have. I'm
would've been
sorry that I
nice.
even made you watch it. It was I loved A Year Without a Santa Claus so much that I was like, that should be on the podcast. It fits the criteria with the Miser Brother Christmas, and then I wish that I hadn't watched it.
I was like, let's watch The Crown. You're like, no, let's watch something for the podcast.
You and The Crown. I finished The Crown today. I guess we'll get into reDON'T from you.
Yeah.
Yeah, terrible.
Yeah, awful.
Right?
The worst 45 minutes of my life.
Yeah,
that says
fair
a lot.
Yeah, yeah, really bad. But no, I don't think that you're going to talk about The Crown again on the last segment of What Are We Watching.
I couldn't.
But yeah, you can. But weirdly enough, I have something else to talk about. But I did finish The Crown today because the last episodes of the final season came out a couple weeks ago, and I finally just got around to finishing it completely. So completely done with the 6 seasons of The Crown. Handing the torch over to you so that you can now watch the 6 seasons, and then we'll talk about it.
For the people who are keeping tabs at home, I'm on season 2. So
you got through season 1 pretty fast.
It's only 10 episodes.
Only 10 episodes that are an hour long. I don't have 10 hours to dedicate to any TV show in a week. I could not finish a season of 10 episodes an hour long in a week for the life of me.
No, I could. Because
Great
I
for
also
you.
would
I
do
don't know.
like 2 or 3 episodes in a day, and then over the course of maybe say 4 days, you finish it.
Yeah, the 2 hours is the most I could dedicate to a show at a time, and then I don't have 4 days out of the week that I could contribute 2 hours.
I'm so lazy
You
that
can.
I could watch probably the 10 hours straight. If I woke up on like a Saturday and started it at 10 a.m. and went to like 8 p.m. or whatever that math would be, I could finish it.
Listen,
I
people
think that
can
math
do
is
it. I just
correct.
can't. I can't do it.
Oh, I can so just disassociate and just watch.
Well, it's not even
anything.
because of like I'm too restless. It's just that I don't have the time. I feel like I just have too busy of a schedule. I need to be doing something at some point.
I need to be doing nothing more, actually.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But that's even not what I want to talk about on this segment. I actually want to talk about a new film that just came out in theaters just last week. Anyone But You, with Glenn Powell and Sydney Sweeney, is now out in theaters. Kayla and I have tickets to go see it.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be seeing it this week for New Year's Eve. And I'm excited for it.
I'm so excited for it.
It's kind of an idea. It looks from the trailers and everything. It looks like it's an idea that has been done before. It's not really like an original idea, but like it's a comedy film. So the question is like, even if the storyline's one that's been done before, are the jokes or is the humor just like repetitive and you're rolling your eyes, or are they going to be able to like make it, funny in its own unique way? So I'm excited for that. I mean, I've watched some interviews with Glenn Powell, and he's been hysterical.
Yeah.
And I think that they just have like good chemistry. Like, so I'm interested to see how we like it.
I'm so excited for it. And my thought on rom-coms are the same thought process that I have with, say, like a Hallmark Christmas movie, is the plot is going to be the same. Mm-hmm. You know exactly how it's going to end by the first 10 minutes of the movie, but that doesn't make it any less. I love every single Hallmark Christmas movie, and they're all the same, but they are my favorite movies. And I think rom-coms kind of have the same thing, that it's just like copy and paste plot, but change the scenarios a little bit and change the jokes. But like that's kind of what I like about them, is rom-coms are just very consistent. You know what you're getting yourself into when you watch it.
Yeah.
You know that it's going to be cheesy and funny, and you know that the two people that probably hate each other in the beginning aren't going to hate each other at the end of it.
Right.
A little spoiler. And I haven't even seen the movie
Right.
yet.
No, that's 100% what it's going to be. We haven't seen it, but that's what it's going to be.
That's what it's going to be. But
Yeah.
I kind of like that consistency with rom-coms.
Yeah.
They're consistent. They're easy. They're funny. They're mindless.
Right. But what I'm saying is, like, as much as it is, they can make different punchlines with their jokes
Sure.
and go in their own direction with the humor.
Right.
So I'm
Yeah.
excited to see if they pull that off well, and that would be
Considering the two main actors, it's going to be a great movie.
yeah, right, I know. But what are you watching?
So since I can't talk about The Crown per Kyle's request,
Yeah, can't do it.
I'll probably cut that out. But I also started another Netflix show. It is called My Life with the Walter Boys. And if you are familiar with Amazon Prime's The Summer I Turned Pretty, which some of you listening or watching probably will not be. Great show. Love that show.
Well, I have no idea what the hell the new one is that you're just talking about.
But you know The Summer I Turned Pretty.
I've heard of. I've seen like 2 episodes with you. It's not like I watched the whole season.
No, but you know what it is.
Yeah.
And it's basically Netflix's version of The Summer I Turned Pretty. I don't know if anyone is interested in watching it, but basically there's this teenager and her parents die in a car accident. So she gets sent to her mother's best friend's family. The friends made a promise to each other that if anything were to happen, they would take each other's kids and kind of become the parents and the guardians. So this girl ends up having to move to a whole new state. She's from New York City. She has to move out in the middle of nowhere farmlands, and a family that has like 8 or 10 kids, which is a complete different from her and her sister and her parents in New York City. So it's basically the main girl is falling in love with 2 guys that are brothers, which is the exact plot of The Summer I Turned Pretty.
Yep.
The main character, Belly, goes to basically what is the Cape, but they don't call it the Cape, but it's set in Massachusetts, so you kind of know what it is. And she falls in love with two brothers. And so it's the same thing, but because I loved The Summer I Turned Pretty with all of my heart, that so quickly became one of my favorite shows I've ever seen. I wanted to give this one a shot too. It's not going to be as good. I know it's not. This is not an original thought that we like to talk about. It's not an original thought. The Summer I Turned Pretty is based off of books. This one is not. So it's just kind of a, we can do this too kind of a show, but it's good so far. I don't hate it.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, I mean, you were just talking about the how the Hallmark movies and rom-coms just do the exact same plot.
And I love them.
Well, there you go. I mean, if you like The Summer I Turned Pretty and this one's the exact same plot, maybe you'll just be like...
I'm one of those people that will watch the same TV show over and over and over again. I've watched Gilmore Girls at least 16 times through because I know what's going to happen. I like watching it. I know it's a good feel-good show. So if I hear a show is basically a copy and paste of something I already love, I'm going to watch it.
You just want more of it. Yeah.
I just want more of it, right? And so I just started that one.
Well, good. I mean, so far, I guess you like it. So we'll let you know if we ended up liking Anyone But You, and we'll also check back in and see how that other show's coming along and how you like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So next week will not be Christmas themed, but we
say that now.
Yeah. Right. Right. No, we wanted to throw in one extra one while it's still kind of the holiday season. Hope everybody has a good New Year's, and like I said, still December for us as we're recording this, so we could sneak one more in there.
Right.
And
we just like Christmas way too much.
Yeah.
They're too good.
Next week, we're going to be done with Christmas and back to our regular list of movies and shows we need to get through for you. So come back for some more reviews.
And thank you for listening today.
Thank you.